so many people who just recently got into the industry over the past year who never made it to their 1 year mark. They already quit. They quit 3 months, 6 months in. Gone. Grind gang, what up? I just got to this shipper. I'm down here in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Not too far from New Orleans. And yeah, so I just backed into the dock. I gotta disconnect from the trailer. I think I'm going ahead and get me loaded so I get up out of here. I got 13-hour commute up to Huntington, West Virginia is where I'm going to. So I'm gonna do my best to kind of like vlog this journey while also putting y'all in what's going on. And I'll see y'all in a minute. Definitely got to get some more rubber grommets. And that one okay, but I'm gonna replace them all though. I got the fifth wheel that releases from the inside, so you just pull the lever and then it pops out. Let this boy down. I'm back in the truck. I'm already disconnected. They loading me up now. They actually started loading before I disconnected all the way. So hopefully I should be loaded soon. Woo, it's time for a shower. So once I leave here, I'ma drive a bunch of the ways first. But at some point, I'ma stop, take a shower. I already know it's a great possibility I'm not gonna shut down at the truck stop tonight because I'm trying to drive this full 11 hours through. And by the time I hit my 11-hour mark, I'm sure it's gonna be well past 7, 8 o'clock. And I'm sure all the truck stops gonna be full. So finding a spot at a truck stop, I'm sure it's gonna be real slim. So I'll probably end up having to shut down at a rest area or pull off at an exit ramp off the expressway or interstate, rather. Knock it out like that. But real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and brush my teeth, wash my face, because I gotta freshen up to some degree. Can't be out here bogus. I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick, and then we can start talking about what we're talking about. So I'm done freshening up. They got me loaded actually relatively quick. So they brought me my paperwork. What I'm picking up is activated carbon. It's the first time I've ever picked this shit up before. But she brought me some samples that I got to deliver with what's in the trailer. That's crazy. Never picked up no activated carbon before, so that's the first. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and back up under this trailer, and then we finna get rolling. Stop real quick. I got a shower. I got 9 hours and 30 minutes left to get to my destination up in Huntington, West Virginia. So I'm gonna go ahead, run in here, get the shower, and then we can talk about this freaking 1 year of authority in a minute. shower.
So you gonna come back and fuel?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Well,
But the young lady, she was in front of me in shower and just told me to fuel afterwards. So I might end up, this might have been a free shower. Who knows? We'll see in a minute. But if so, shout out to homegirl. Came through clutch.
Customer 90. Your shower is ready.
It's a pretty sizable shower. Y'all ain't never seen what a shower look like at a truck stop. This is one of many layouts that you may see. So, I'm gonna go ahead and knock this young thing out. Get y'all in a minute. Finally up out of there. I don't even know how long I was just sitting there, but I was definitely in there for probably longer than I wanted to be. But whenever you get an opportunity to get a shower, you gotta take advantage of it, man. Like I'll wash up twice. Should I normally wash up 3 times, but 2 will do. But yeah, I'm finna pull around here to the fuel islands, get some fuel, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drive out the rest of my time. It's funny as hell. This look just like the motherfucking scenery for the my outro. The water over there, Sunset, 2-lane road. That's funny as hell. So didn't get to board like once I went to go do that. I delivered that load of activated carbon. And then I picked up the load that delivered Monday. So right now, it's currently Sunday. This load delivers at 7 o'clock in the morning. So, excuse me. So I pretty much got until the rest of this day to chill out. I'm gonna go shower again tonight. And I'm gonna deliver this first thing in the morning. But the reason why we're here though, this 1 year authority. At the time of recording this video, I'm just past my year. It's gonna be 1 year, 1 month on the 1st. To be honest, like it's been amazing. If I could go back and do it all over again, there's a few things that I would do different. If I could do anything different, the first thing would definitely be to not buy a box truck. I think that was the biggest mistake that I made, was buying a box truck first. And the only reason why I bought the box truck was because I thought that it would have been a more sound investment. Not knowing what I didn't know. I was looking at it from an insurance standpoint, and then also looking at it from a standpoint of if I buy a semi, then it means I have to have a trailer in order to haul freight. Not knowing that you can do power only, you can rent a trailer. There was several different options that I could have took to fill that void. But then looking at it like, okay, I got to insure a tractor and I got to insure a trailer, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be way more expensive than just me getting a box truck that's 1 unit. I'm just insuring 1 unit. And not knowing that the brokers was going to be on a lot of BS when it came to the whole box truck deal. So that was, in my honest opinion, that was a huge waste of time. Like I say, I've been doing trucking. I've been in this industry for 12 years now. So I'm accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I'm accustomed to a certain level of pay from a company driver standpoint. So looking at it from that angle, I understand business, and I understand that in most cases your employer makes 4 to 8 times what they pay you in wage in most cases. So I looked at it from a standpoint like, okay, if I'm making on average $1,000 a week as a company driver, 4 times that is $4,000 a week. 8 times that is $8,000 a week. So that's what I should be making as an entrepreneur doing this whole trucking deal. So when I was seeing the box truck rates, I'm like, this ain't what it's supposed to be. And I was just seeing a lot of the games that the brokers was playing, and it was a huge turnoff. So that was the first, the biggest mistake. If I can go back and do it all over again, the only thing I probably would change is getting a box truck first instead of getting a semi. That would probably be the only thing I would do different, because then that would have saved me so much headache. That would have saved me so much money, because I wouldn't have ever had to rent a truck. And then it's like, after getting the box truck, it was like somewhat harder to get a company to want to finance me on the semi side, because it was more risk, like only having one driver to 2 truck ratio on your authority. It was a lot of things that variables that played its part in that. So if I could have done it differently, I definitely would have went straight to the semi route. I would have avoided the whole box truck thing altogether. But outside of that, like just to touch on some of the pros, the flexibility is like probably one of the biggest things. Just being as flexible as you want to be, being your own boss. Like, if you want to take off, you can take off. If you want to run hard, you can run hard. If you want to just run certain lanes and stay out of certain areas, you can do that. Like, you don't have anybody forcing you to go anywhere. And that's one of the greatest things to me. That's one of the joys of entrepreneurship, just having that flexibility to just kind of do what you want to do, how you want to do it, and just kind of dib and dabble and see what works, what don't work, stuff like that. But yeah, the flexibility, I would say the freedom also to just kind of do you. You don't have nobody tugging on you to get you to move a certain way. However, you do gotta understand that unless you own your equipment outright, if you got payments, you gotta at least cover your monthly expenses in order to operate. And so you don't got no repossessions or nothing like that, or your credit taking a ding and stuff like that. But having the freedom to just kind of do what you want to do, like having the freedom to be able to have my family out with me when I wanted to, once I got in the semi, like that's priceless, yo, because like that's the only reason why I want to go home at times. Is my family. And I've met a lot of truckers who don't really fuck with their family like that. I've been in orientation and literally heard drivers say like I just try to stay out because I don't want to be at home with her too many days. Or they go home a day, 2 days, and they like, I'm ready to get back on the road because the missus is driving me crazy, whatever. And it's like, I don't have that issue. You know, I love my woman. Like, we enjoy each other's time. We got so much in common that when we kicking it, like, it's more than just us being on, you know, traditional lovey-dovey cakey stuff. Like, that's my buddy, that's my roadie. Like, we do everything together. That's my business partner, that's my counselor, that's my confidant. Like, that's everything, you feel me? So, and then my kids, like, I love my kids. I have amazing relationships with my kids. Like, we talk, we joke, we play around. And to have them with me, now I have no reason to go home. When they with me, like, I can run as hard as I want to run. I can go anywhere. And then being able to go and visit places. Like, if we see a spot that we want to go to, we can just up and go. If we want to go to LA and visit LA, say the kids say, Dad, I want to go back to LA. All right, cool. We can book a load to LA and go spend a weekend out there. You feel me? Go do a 34-hour reset out there and go see some things and bail out. You know, they want to go to Miami. Like, we can go to Miami. We can go anywhere we want to go. And having that freedom is priceless. Like, you literally, you can't put a price tag on that. And it's and that's one of the, like, freedom and family time. Like, those things you can't put a price tag on it. And I'm so grateful to be able to have that privilege to be able to do that. Another pro is finances. I've earned the most money that I've ever earned in my life doing this, having my own authority. I've touched money that most people wouldn't even be able to fathom, you know, being able to have that much cash flow running in and out of your account on a weekly or monthly basis. So, but you know, the more you earn in this industry, because it's a high cash flow industry, but it's also a heavy expense industry. So the more money the harder you run, the more expenses you have, because now your fuel bill is higher. But it's worth it to me, because I've never been the type of person that's been okay with playing it safe and just staying in my lane and just being comfortable with what was given to me. I've never been that person. I've always been the type of person that wanted more. I've always been the type of person that wanted freedom, wanted an extraordinary lifestyle, and jobs was never it for me. I've always been a great worker, but I've always also been a horrible employee, because I hated working on other people's time. I hated having to take orders from people who I felt like wasn't qualified to lead. You know, because just because somebody's in a position of management doesn't mean that they're in a position of leadership. All managers are not leaders. So that was always a problem for me. So having the opportunity to get out here and do my own thing and earn the type of money that I'm able to earn is amazing. And like we've earned a lot of money, but we've also spent a lot of money. But what they say, you got to pay the cost to be the boss, you know. And the way this thing goes, like, I look at my expenses, and it's mind blowing to me, because it's like my expenses are more than what most people's salaries are, what most people earn. I spend more in expenses on a weekly, monthly, annual basis than most people earn, and that's crazy. But that's the difference between being a company driver and being an independent carrier. Like, you bear the load. So those are, you know, some of the biggest pros to having the authority. Some of the cons is dealing with shady brokers. That's like one of the biggest issues for me, because I've seen how the brokers act towards box trucks, and I've seen how they act towards semis, and it's completely different. I've literally had brokers say, like, having a load, and they ask what type of equipment you got, because they know, like, okay, it can fit on a box truck. And because I say a box truck, is like, okay, and then they say a rate, and I'm like, well, that's kind of low, can you do X, Y, Z? And they're like, nah, I'm not gonna pay that for a box truck. But it's like, in reality, what does it really matter? The customer doesn't care what type of equipment is moved on. The only thing they care about is if it gets there on time and if it gets there in one piece. That's all they care about. They don't care how it gets there. But that's the broker playing the little petty games that they play to ultimately put more money in their pocket. And they don't understand how they cannibalizing themselves, because this is a symbiotic relationship with truckers, with carriers and brokers. Like, we need each other to survive. So if you steal from the carriers too much, it's ultimately going to affect you, because it's going to cause more carriers to go out of business. Now you have fewer carriers to move your freight, and now you wondering why you can't get loads moved like you once did. Because it's so many people who just recently got into the industry over the past year who never made it to their 1 year mark. They already quit. They quit 3 months, 6 months in. Gone. I just ran across a lady who was trying to sell a truck. My lady actually found her, and a year in, and she couldn't weather the storm. And now she's trying to sell her truck. She done already shut down her business, trying to get out of the transportation industry altogether. And it's like, damn, like, that sucks. Like, she couldn't weather the storm. She couldn't figure out and navigate how to make this thing work in her favor. And she had a semi with a CDL. But her biggest thing was, she said she couldn't keep a driver. And she had a 2-year-old kid. And she didn't want to, I guess for whatever reason, didn't want to take it over the road. Like, that's old enough to buckle up and we out here. It ain't like you got a 2-month-old baby. You got a 2-year-old toddler who, if you got a TV in here, got food, snacks, y'all out here. But She didn't want to do it, and for whatever reason, like, that's not for me to try and figure out. It's not for me to judge her, but at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do to make this dream become a reality. And but yeah, people quitting like crazy. But brokers, they play a big part in that. And some of it is the supply and demand, supply chain issues. However, some of it is definitely the tactics and antics that these brokers are playing. And they just trying to put more and more money in their own pockets, and it's killing the game. And you got to think, a lot of the big mega carriers, they have contracts, they have work. So they most of the mega carriers are brokers, so they have their own freight. But then they also they are brokers first, and they hired drivers on to move their freight first. Like, they get first dibs on their freight. So now their company drivers have consistent work, they happy, and then their overflow they put on their own load boards for independent carriers to go bid on, or whatever the case may be. So when you think about it from that perspective, they're not really going to no other brokers unless they need a backhaul or something like that. But that's very rare, because you think about a JB Hunt, for example. These mega carriers, they got so much freight that they really probably only really moving their trucks from one area that they got freight to another area that they got freight. And then they got so many relationships that they've developed over the years that they probably very, very rarely got to get a backhaul from another broker. So it's a different game that they're playing. And the brokers, these smaller brokers who are not carriers, they don't really understand the damage that they're doing, because I seen a statistic where it said, I think 80% of all freight is moved by smaller carriers that have like 5 trucks or less, or 10 trucks or less. Like, it was like the small guys move like 80% of the freight. And that's mind-blowing when you think about it. But that's because the mega carriers, they have their own freight that they only dealing in. So when you talking about this spot market and stuff like that, it's the smaller guys that's getting this freight moved. And you're gonna capitalize that, you're gonna kill that by being greedy? That's just crazy to me. But that's why we're seeing a lot of the that's part of the reason why we're seeing the situation we're seeing. So that's one of the major cons, if not the biggest con, to being an independent carrier, having your own authority. Another is compliance. You know, just all of the paperwork that you gotta do to stay compliant. It's a lot that comes along with it. You gotta pay your fuel taxes. That's done quarterly. And if you late, they gonna ding you for it. You know, you're gonna have to pay, I think it's like $50 or 10% of whatever your gross bill is, whichever one is higher, something like that. But yeah, you gotta pay those taxes. Just all of the paperwork, UCR registrations, being with the whole consortium stuff. It's just so many different your biannual updates. All of these different things on top of, you know, maintaining your insurance. And I'm missing some other stuff, but you get what I'm getting at. It's just so many different things that you have to do to remain compliant, to be able to run. And if you slip on anything, and this is on top of the hours of service and all of that kind of stuff, but if you slip, it could cost you everything. Everything you work for gone down the drain. You get a violation for something, it could be detrimental to your business. So it's just staying compliant, staying in order like that. That is a con, in a sense, because it's like it's a headache to have to do sometimes on top of driving. And that's the reason why some carriers, they hire, you know, other companies to take care of their compliance, their paperwork. I don't even want to deal with it. I don't want to slip and forget nothing. But I just decided to do it myself for the first year, and while I was only running one truck, because I wanted to know what it takes. I wanted to know what goes into it, the ins and outs, so that it gives me a higher level of respect for the people who do have to do it. Now, as we expand and we get a second truck, third truck, then it's like, I don't want to have to be responsible for dispatching 3 trucks, getting compliance, filling out carrier packets, all that stuff for all these trucks. I don't want to be held responsible for that. So chances are I'm gonna reach out and get somebody to do my compliance at that point in time. But until then, it's like I'm gonna continue to do it as long as I'm a single man operation. But those are definitely some cons that I don't really like. But I would definitely say, like, expectations. Expect the unexpected. Like, if you plan to get into this and do your own thing, maybe you're a company driver, maybe you're an owner operator running under somebody else's numbers, and you've been thinking about getting your own authority, I would definitely say expect the unexpected and expect to take the stress test. And what that means is, like, with expecting the unexpected, the trucking industry is the prime example of Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. You're just one breakdown away from just being stressed out, losing money. Like, so that's why you gotta do pre-trips and, check your equipment. But even still, you can easily find yourself in a situation where you're broken down for stuff something you probably couldn't see. And now that puts you out of service for like a week. So it ain't a matter of if your truck is gonna break down, it's a matter of when your truck is gonna break down. And you can do your pre-trips, post-trips. You should do your pre-trips and post-trips. Keep up with that type of stuff and monitor your equipment, because and do proper preventative maintenance. Put your stuff in the shop to do AM service, PM, B service, A service, and B service. When it comes to your preventative maintenance, find you a good shop that you can take it to and get it maintenance, get it oil changed all the time. And when they do those PM services, they're gonna tell you if they find some stuff that needs to be changed and when it needs to be changed, about how long you got until you need to get it serviced. So that stuff helps, because you don't wanna only fix stuff when it breaks. Sometimes you can catch it before it breaks down, and then that saves you money. Because if you can get it done at a shop on your terms, it's gonna save you more money versus you breaking down in the middle of nowhere. Now you gotta get a record called, and then now they servicing your stuff in the middle of nowhere. Now they know you in a position to whereas you need that truck done now, so they can raise their prices up. So preventative maintenance, that stuff helps a lot. So expect the unexpected when it comes to this industry, because it's not like I say, it's not a matter of if you're gonna break down, it's when you're gonna break down. And expect to take the stress test. What that means is just know that it's gonna be a lot of stressful stuff that's gonna happen in this industry. Stuff that you can control, stuff that you can't control, and it's gonna test you. And depending on how you build, how you cut, and your previous experiences, is gonna all determine and dictate how you handle situations in this industry. If you're not prepared to handle certain situations, then it could take you out. For me personally, I have a special skill set that actually allowed me to be able to navigate through this whole trucking thing a little bit smoother. Previous history in network marketing, so I've dealt with a lot of rejection. I've dealt with a lot of adversity. Just having prior experience in dealing with business and just adverse situations. So my level of tolerance when it comes to certain things is higher than most people, because of the previous experiences and previous training that I've had. But if you've never dealt with adversity, you've never dealt with rejection, you've never dealt with just tough situations in general, this industry is gonna test you. And if you're not battle tested, it can take you out. So you have to know on the front end that you're gonna take the stress test and you're gonna go through some situations. I've been through some situations in the past year that I wouldn't say taking me to the point to where I thought about quitting, but it's definitely taken me to a point to where it was like, man, like really wanting to put my hands on people. I've almost had to beat somebody up at a shipper, another driver, and there's just a lot of different situations that's gonna be stressful. But just know you're gonna get tested. But there's no testimony without the test. You gotta go through the test, and you have to pass the test in order to make it to the other side and be able to tell your testimony. So keep your head high. If you in this space already, and you already 10 toes down, you've already made the investment, just keep your head high. If you're having a tough time, reach out to somebody who is having some success and pick their brain. See what they doing to, weather the storm, and see how they operate, and see if you can learn a few gems from them. Don't be afraid to try to seek mentorship. That can really help you and help cut that learning curve. And if you're looking into getting into this space, just know it's tough. Like, now is a tough time. But if you do feel like now is your time, go for it. But just know what you're getting yourself into. Have you some bread stacked up. Make sure that your credit is in good shape, because you will need to utilize that credit to help get you some business funding to help you get through tougher times. But if y'all made it to this point in the video, thank you for watching. Let me know down in the comments if y'all like this style of video opposed to my other videos, like when I'm in my office at home, because I want to make the best type of videos for y'all, like, because I want to deliver the information, but I want to curate it to your liking, to your taste, and what's going to give you the most value. I definitely want to do my best to pump out more content so that I can deliver more value, deliver as much value to y'all as possible. And because I got a lot of content that I gotta put out, and I ain't gonna lie, like, this whole YouTube thing is it's not easy. It's definitely harder than it looks. It's more than just turning on a camera and just recording. It's a lot that goes into the whole process and coming up with valuable content. So I really do tip my hat to people who do this and who's already made it to a certain level in this space, because it's way more that goes along with it than what you see. But when you see it, everything is already packaged, put together, and it's just click a button and everything is done. But it's way more to it than that. But I'm definitely gonna make a conscious effort to try and pump out more content more consistently, and just give y'all the value that y'all need. I got a few more videos right now that's in the pipeline that will be coming to y'all. So if y'all seeing this, hopefully I've already made it to a point to whereas I'm putting videos out consistently. My goal is to start to produce content and put out a video at least once a week. So with that, I say thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and tap that notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified whenever we drop new content. And until then, see y'all in the next one. Peace.